How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Oceans Reviews here today. So today I've got another video in store for you guys, a special type of video. This is a video I wanted to make for quite some time now, but there was a few movies that I actually needed to watch before I could, prepare this video. But it's a question that I feel like revolves around me a lot. It's a question that gets asked quite frequently. The subject is always sort of touched upon, when I'm in live streams with the guys, with Matt or AJ. It's sort of, I feel like there's maybe one or two people that might ask this question, or we talk about it. And it's something that I wanted to give you guys my definitive answer to, and that is my Batman ranking. And it's either the Batman ranking or your favorite Batman ranking as well. So I've gone and watched some blind spot movies, ones that I haven't touched upon yet, and that's some of the original Batman films. I recently went and watched Batman Returns, Batman Forever in sort of preparation for this video, and now we're going to get into it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd like to know what you think of my ranking and my opinion on some of these movies or things like that, because that's what it's all about. I actually love talking about this sort of subject when it comes to your favorite Batman films, because I enjoy the character. We like Batman. Come on, most of you like Batman. We really enjoy Batman as a character, and we love the Batman films. So let's get into it. So I'm going with these two. This is the first two, so number one and number two. We've got Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. My number one being Batman Begins. As of recently, I've just sort of drawn more towards this film. I really enjoyed it as a Batman film. I sort of enjoy Christian Bale's upcoming and the build-up to him becoming Batman. And as of recently, it's sort of just taken my number one spot for my favorite Batman film. It's the one that I feel like I'd put in the player most often now, going forward, when it comes to watching one of these films. My second favorite film being The Dark Knight. I mean, everyone loves The Dark Knight. We love The Dark Knight. I love The Dark Knight. It's a great film, but as of recently, I feel like it's sort of had its time. It's been around for quite a long time now, and it's a film that I've had way too much experience with, and it's just something that I sort of want to let go a little bit. And it's not really something that I'm going to put in the player that often anymore, because it's just I've watched it too much. It's almost boring to an extent, but I still recognize it as a great film and one that I really enjoy. Just something that I wouldn't put in the player as often now. I think the next time I put The Dark Knight or Batman Begins in the player really is when I get them on 4K. So that's probably something that I'll do. But definitely Batman Begins is now my number one. Just one that I feel like I'd definitely put in the player more often than any of these other films. But so yeah, number one, Batman Begins, and number two, The Dark Knight in my first ranking there. Now the third place, or the third ranking, so the third place, the Batman film that takes the third place is Batman Returns. Now this one I really enjoyed. I really like Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I do like that version of Catwoman. It is a bit, I don't know, it's different. It's a lot different than what I've experienced before as the character. I forget her name now. The Catwoman in The Dark Knight and the Catwoman in the Batman. I feel like I like this version of the Catwoman more. There's a bit more of an origin story as well behind it, of how she becomes Catwoman too. And Michael Keaton's Batman is really good. I really like Michael Keaton as Batman. I can see why people are more drawn towards these original films now. Because he's a great Bruce Wayne. He's a great Batman. And this film was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Penguin was pretty good. I feel like there was some low points there. But I thought overall it was really good, and I really enjoyed his character. He has some pretty questionable lines, dialogue in this film, which is quite funny as well. Just some random lines that come out from him, Danny DeVito. But I really enjoyed this. Of the original series, this is my favorite Batman film, Batman Returns. So we watched that, and that's one that I watched recently for the first time. And then we have Batman. Now, this one was really good. I feel like I could watch those two, Batman Returns and Batman just 1, 2 done, and I'd be happy with that, to watch these without the other ones. Jack Nicholson as Joker, or the Joker, was really good as well. Doesn't come close to Heath Ledger for me, but still a pretty good Joker, for these original sort of films. And then again, of course, Batman, Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, he was really good in this. It's just a really good film. It's a good Batman film. So this takes my 4th spot, Batman. And then we have The Batman. Now, I do feel like there is a few problems with this film. Now, watching it for the 2nd time, I think. It is a bit long, which is a problem that I have with it. I feel like I don't think I could sit down and watch it again for quite some time, because it does feel like a long film. There is some great scenes in it, but there's too much length in between those scenes, if you get what I mean. But I really like Robert Pattinson as Batman. I think he makes a pretty cool, brutal, menacing type Batman. He feels very dark and scary, and I really enjoy that about him. It's a series, it's a trilogy that I'm looking forward to. I am looking forward to the next film they put out of this trilogy, the Robert Pattinson Batman trilogy. But yeah, this one is a good film. Not my favorite, not one that I feel like I'd return to quite often, but I do enjoy it as a Batman film. And then we got The Dark Knight Rises. Now, as of recently, I just don't... I like it, but I just feel like it's just one that I'm not going to return to as often. I feel like coming off the high of The Dark Knight, and then we get this one, there's a bit of a slump. So, although it is a good, conclusive ending to that trilogy, the Christian Bale, Batman, The Dark Knight trilogy, but I just feel like I'd watch the other two more often than this one. Nothing against really anything compared, nothing really against this film in general. I don't really have too many issues with it. I just feel like it's just not my go-to. It's not really one that I'd feel like I'd pick out of the shelf quite often. So we've got that, The Dark Knight Rises. And then we've got Batman and Robin. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this film, but I like it. I think it's fun. This is one of the original films that I did grow up with. So the George Clooney Batman film, I do remember some memories of me watching this when I was a kid, when I was young. And I think it's just fun. I think it's a lot of fun, this film. I think it's not one that I take too seriously. But I can understand why it's not, the best film, or not the best Batman film. But, it's just that's just it. Batman and Robin, it's good, but, I understand why it's not good. I enjoy it, but I understand its problems. That's why it's sort of in this place, which is, I forget. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This takes another number 7 spot. Batman and Robin. And then we got Batman Forever. This one's interesting. I can see why people don't like it. The dialogue is weird. I think the only real thing I enjoyed about this film is Chris O'Donnell as like becoming Robin in this film, and sort of his little journey that he has. Like he has some like internal battle with himself and him becoming Robin and wanting to fight alongside Batman and things like that. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about this film. I understand it's sort of, you know, it's not a good Batman film. I understand that it's not great, but I feel like I could have fun with it, if you get what I mean. Like I could pop it in and still enjoy it for what it is, but I understand its problems. I feel like there's just too many characters trying to grab the spotlight, and it just splits this film in two, or just many pieces. But the Riddler, like Jim Carrey as the Riddler, is quite interesting. I feel like I'm watching Dumb and Dumber, like just because of his humor and just how Jim Carrey is. Like I just feel like I'm watching Dumb and Dumber for some reason, and not a Batman film. I didn't mind Two-Face, to be honest. I thought he was pretty good. Like I didn't mind him. I didn't mind his character. But just the direction that it goes is just sort of strange, and it looks really wacky and a bit silly and a bit stupid. And I definitely don't like Val Kilmer as Batman either. Like he's not, I prefer George Clooney, I think, as Batman, to an extent. I'm not really fond of him being Batman. But I feel like it was an enjoyable film. There was some enjoyable scenes in it, but you know, it's not to be taken seriously. But yeah, I can understand that it's not a good film, and it's not one that I'm gonna watch very often. But to have a bit of fun, I will. Now, the last one on this list is, I don't have this film. I plan to get it eventually, but I'm gonna chuck up a little poster here. And that is Batman v Superman, BVS. I just don't like Ben Affleck as Batman. I just don't think he's a good Batman. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I don't like Ben Affleck as Batman. I just don't think he's a good Batman. I don't really enjoy him as Batman at all. Like, I don't know. Yeah, he's just... I don't know, it's just something about it. It's just not my cup of tea. And this film I didn't really enjoy either. It's one that I feel like I definitely wouldn't revisit as often. Maybe once again, when I pick it up eventually, I will probably revisit it again. But, you know, it's just not a good film. I really don't enjoy it, or him as Batman, to be honest. But yeah, maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know if that's a hot take or not. But there you go, guys. That's all my that's my ranking of the live action Batman films. I hope you enjoyed. So yeah, currently my favorite Batman film is Batman Begins. My least favorite is BVS. But definitely Batman Returns is a new sort of favorite for me. A new favorite Batman film. Those two Batman films, Batman and Batman Returns, I think they're fantastic. I love them. They're great. They're really good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd be interested to see what you think of my ranking. You know, do you have an opinion? I'd love to hear your opinions on these films as well. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite, and why? I'd love to know. This is a subject that I sort of enjoy talking about. I always like talking about it when it comes up as well, like on live streams and things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.